Hello and welcome to real-time Markdown editor project. This is the final project. Hello and welcome to this project. This is a real-time Markdown editor project and this is the final version. As you can see, we have here two sides, a left side which is a input text and the right side you see the preview. So this is a real-time Markdown editor. Left side I have written some text, a special text, and that gets converted into HTML. If I inspect it, you can see it's a H1 heading, but I have written it like this. So this is the Markdown we write, and then it gets converted into a equivalent HTML. Now we will understand how it works, and we will create this project from scratch. So if I type it here, you can see a live preview directly. Whatever I edited here, you will see changes on the right side. So this is the Markdown project. Now before we start writing the code, let's understand the Markdown editor project requirement. So this is our Markdown editor, and in the UI side it has only three elements: input text section, we have preview section, and clear content. So this is our input text section where we write the Markdown. We have this preview section where we will see the live preview as we type in this input section, and we have this clear content button. So if we click on it, it will clear the content of both the side. If I click on it, you can see it has cleared the content and it has set focus to this input text element. Now I'll bring back that Markdown here. And next is the tech stack. We will use HTML, CSS and JavaScript. And the library, by end of this video, we will integrate two libraries, Marked.js and Highlight.js. And the functionality of this project is very simple. The input text where user will type the Markdown, the preview section, it will preview whatever user write, whatever user type in the input section, and it will get the preview in the preview section. And then we have the clear button. It will clear the both left and right side content. So by end of this video, you will learn how Markdown works, like actually how they works, how they convert this Markdown into the H1 heading or H2 heading, and then you will be able to create your own custom Markdown editor with or without any library. So now let's start the project. So this is the project. It has no functionality in it. I have just opened it with the live server. You can open it however you want. So this is the project setup. I have created three files: HTML, script.js and CSS file. It's very basic HTML and CSS. You can check this in the source code. And the JavaScript, it is empty. We will write every single line code in here. Now let's start writing the code. So we have three elements: button, input text area and this preview section. So first we will target all these three. So let's get the clear button, which is our, let's call it a reset button. We get document.get element by ID, and I have given it ID of reset. And then second is input field, and we can select it using the ID, and ID for it is Markdown -input. And the last we have the preview section. We'll call it preview. Document.get element by ID, and we will get the preview section as well. Now let's add the event handler for this input field. So as user types in, we will listen for it and then convert that Markdown into the proper HTML and then render it on the preview section. So let's add a event handler for input field. We add input. So as user type here, we will get that data and we'll use that. So we will have this event in here. Now let's just test it if it is working or not. So we will console log the value. So we will say input text. This is event dot target dot value. Now if I console log and if I type in here, you can see our event listener is working for this input text area. So now we can go to the next step, which is converting the markdown into the equivalent HTML. Before that, let's just define few rules for markdown. So let's say we want to convert a h1 heading to equivalent h1 element in the HTML. So how we do it? So we define the rules first. Let's just get rid of this thing, and now let's say we have this markdown text entered by user. So we have event.target.value, and then we can write few rules, which is for heading h1. What is the rule for it? The rule is if I type has space and some text, then we will convert this into h1 heading, and it will contain that text in here. So this is the first rule. We will write more rules and then write the code that converts that the text into equivalent HTML. So first let's do it for this h1 heading. So we say markdown text dot replace. We will use regular expression. So for this I will write the regular expression, which is very simple. You will understand it. If it starts with has and then some space, and then we will say for some content, and this is where it ends. If this is the regular expression which matches the user, whatever user types, then we convert it into HTML, equivalent HTML. This is h1, and this will have the text as well. Now we have converted this markdown, which is this one, into this equivalent. Now let's test it. To test it, let's say markdown text equals to this. So we took the value, we converted and reassigned to the markdown itself. Now we can set the preview of the inner HTML. Like the preview section, we have the preview dot inner HTML, and we will set markdown text. Now if I save it, and if we go in here and let's say we type has space title. Okay, why it is not working? Let's see. So this is our regular expression, which says it start with has, then we have some space, and then we have this thing in here. Oh, got it, that this is not the one. We need to add this one. So let's say has title. You see we have written this, but we see the preview it like this. Let's inspect it and see if it actually worked. So we can see, yeah, this is the HTML tag, which is what we wanted to convert. So yeah, our first markdown rule is working. We have typed this one, and then we got this as output. Now let's write the next rule for h2 heading, similar to this one. So we can just copy and paste it here, and we will change few things. So this was the h1. We say this is going to be h2, and instead of one has, we will add two has here as well, and then we will convert this to h2. So this is the rule for our h2 heading. Now let's test it. We add two has, and then title, you see it's converted into h2 heading. So our second rule is also working. So this is how Markdown editors works. They read the user input text, they use the regular expressions. They have some specific rules. If we type using those rules, it gets converted into the equivalent HTML, and then we just render that as a HTML. Now let's write let's say a new rule for horizontal line. So for that we can say horizontal line. For this rule will be very simple. If we have 3 continuous hyphens, then we will convert this into a horizontal rule tag. So for this we say markdown text equals to markdown text dot replace, and here we will write the regular expression. In the regular expression it will be like this. If it starts with 3 continuous hyphen and then it ends, it means it is our regular this is the horizontal line we want, so we will convert this into a horizontal line. Now we can test it. It's very simple. So if I type 3 continuous hyphen, you can see the horizontal line rule is there. So 3 continuous lines were converted into a horizontal line. So this was the rule for our horizontal line. Now we can write one more rule, which is, let's say I want to convert some text into a bold text. So how we do it? For that, let's just write a rule. So for the bold text, we will have a rule like this: 2 star, then some text, then again 2 star. So this is our rule. So if user types something like this, we will convert that into a strong tag, and text whatever user typed in, we will replace it there. We will put it there. Now we say markdown text equals to markdown text dot replace. We will use again regular expression. In here we will type like this. So if it starts with 2 star and then it will have some text in it, and then it will have some content in it, and then it will end with 2 star again, and yeah, that's it. So if this is the pattern that user typed, then we convert into a strong tag and we will replace it with the text. So now let's test this as well. So if I type 2 star then some text, again you see it's converted into a strong tag. So our next rule is also working. So this is how we can write multiple rules for each and every markdown and then create our custom markdown editor. Or we can use some extra library which are already available there. They are handling all the edge cases and so many things for the markdown, so we can use them. So the library is called Marked.js. You can visit this URL and you will see this proper document. So to use this we have to do just one. We have to add this script in our page. So let's just copy it and add in our HTML. Okay, and then we will not need these custom rules, so we can comment those out, and instead that we will use the Marked.js. So what we do, we take the markdown. So we have the markdown, right? So we will define one more variable HTML. So what we do, we will use the markdown. So we say marked dot parse, and we will give it our markdown text. Then it will convert this into a equivalent HTML. So we will assign it to a HTML variable, and then in here we can say our HTML will be here. Now I will tell you why I have added this HTML. I will just explain you in a second. So let's control save it, and if we go back to our editor, we type hash text. Okay, I think we have missed something. It says not our variable, we have to use marked, which is the library variable. This is the object the library given by library. So if we use this one and we type like this, you can see like it is now converting this markdown into the proper HTML, which is the H1. See, exactly, so we have defined it, and now we are using the library which is doing the same thing, and it is converting this into a H1 tag here. Now I have prepared some content for it. I will just copy and paste that entire content, so we don't have to type it each and every line. So I will just put it here. You can see that it has converted successfully all the markdown into equivalent HTML, and it is working. But there is a one thing. So if I open the final project, which is this one, you see it has some space between all these things, which is the new line. But here we don't see any new line. Now to add a new line, what we need to do is we need to write one single line for this one, and it's very simple. So we say markdown text equals to HTML. We take the HTML given by the mark.parse function, and then we call a replace function on it, and we will write a simple regular expression which is new line. So if you see the new line, just replace it with this one, and then take this markdown and set as a inner HTML of preview tab. Now if I go to the final project and copy this markdown and add it here, you will see that now we have a proper line break for each text. So this was just one thing we need to add. So now it is working exactly as we have our final project. So yeah, this was the markdown, but we are not done yet, because now we have to do one more thing. So if you see the final project, we add the code block like this, and it has a proper background color and some color. So for that we need to use one more library. So right now we don't see it here, right? We just see it as a simple text. So to add this functionality, we need to use one more library, which is Highlight.js. So if you visit this URL highlight.js, you will see we need to add two things in here, a JS file and a CSS file. So if I copy these two and add in our project, so I will add it here. Now we have added this. Now we need to add one or two line of code. We have this markdown. Once we get the markdown, what we do, we set it here as inner HTML, and now we will say preview dot query selector all. We will select all the code blocks, and for each code block what we will do, we will call this Highlight.js object, which is HLJS, and on it we have a function called highlight element, and we will pass the block. So now if we save it, and let's see if we add this markdown again in our project, see if it is working or not. Yeah, it is not working. Let's see the console tab. It says is not a function. So I think we are not calling the right function. So if let's go, this is, oh, this says to h, it is just highlight. If we go in here, they have somewhere called the function. We don't need all these things. It's core API, and see this one, highlight element. So if we use this function here and we again use this markdown text in here, you will see that now it is properly working. But if you noticed, here the color is black and here the color is light. Why is that? Yeah, it's very simple. I will explain you again, not this one. If we go in here, see they have the default CSS, but if we want to make it dark, we need to update the CSS file. So if I just update this dark instead of default, now let's go to this text, copy it. If we edit here, marked is not defined. Okay, I think we missed something. Wait a second, no, let's see. Okay, it's working. Now we need to move it here and say dark. Yeah, now you can see we have added a new style, which is the dark, and you can see the color is also dark, so it is same as our final project, like this. So this is the Markdown project. Now this is one more thing. If I click on this button, I need to clear these two sections and then set focus to this text area. So let's do that as well, and for that we will say reset button dot add event listener. If we click on it, we want to change something or we want to do something. So first we want to set input field dot value equals to empty. We want to clear it, all the content, and same for the preview. Now here we will not clear it, we will just set a different HTML. So we will set this HTML like this, p tag, and it will have class of placeholder, and we will add a text in here. Preview will appear here, and we want to set a focus back to the input field. So we say input field dot focus. We call this function. Now if we come in here, we add this Markdown, and if we see here, yeah, it's working fine. Now if we click on this button, it will clear both content and set focus to the input text area. So yeah, this was the project, real-time Markdown editor. You have learned that how Markdown converts this text into the H1 heading, this to H2, and the horizontal line, this to bold text. So this is how Markdown works, and to make it a complete Markdown editor, we have used this Marked.js library, and we have used the Highlight.js to highlight the code. So this was it. This is the project. You can find the code in the description. It's on GitHub, and I will also mention these two libraries in the description. Thank you, and I will see you in next video.